Welcome back to F1 Manager 24 in Season 3, 2026. It's the big regulation change year, and so far it's been a bit all over the place in terms of results because of how specialised cars are becoming, depending on effectively which car parts the AI are building the most of will be the area of the car that they're probably best in as a result. They don't specialise those car parts, but just inherently each car part comes with a stronger weighting in certain areas than others. So if you build more rear wings, for instance, you'll have better DRS most likely, which has led to some very variable results for our own team because we do specialise our parts, of course, and we've obviously we were very heavy in the DRS in Australia, which worked really well there, but that wasn't so good in China. Audi seemed to be having a similar problem. They were great, seemingly quite good at the start of the season, and now they struggled in the last race at Saudi Arabia. So it's fun, it's unpredictable, I'm loving it. What's less unpredictable is it's the money situation. So going from the last day of April to the 1st of May here, I did watch the total funds in the bottom right hand corner. It went from 14 point, I'll be honest, I missed the next number, but it was 14 point something to now 19.8, which if you divide 26.4 by 5 is about right. I am confused why the ball payments to date and the projection in the season don't add up. Projection in the season 60 million is exactly 5 million a month. So I don't know where the extra 1.4 has come from, whether that was something at the beginning of the season or what. But effectively, it's around 5-ish million per month. And that's effectively what we got from 14 to 19, which means we're not being paid for the F1 prize money. I'm pretty certain we got it in month 1. I'm pretty certain we got it on season changeover. I'm pretty certain it was part of that because the maths was there. You could see the plus minus and the overall sums there. I'm pretty certain we got it in that initial payment, but I don't think the monthly payments work from that point onwards. So I think it's only 11 months basically that you don't get paid for. You get paid for the first one, but not the rest. I think that's where it's broken, which means if I take 1 month out of this, then I'll add those funds in. I'll add them in at the end of this episode, but I'll put in 4 months worth. In fact, actually, I'm only 1 month away from doing the June one, so I'll just put 5 months worth in at the start of June. That's probably the way to do it. I completely missed the March checkpoint, so I'll just do the June checkpoint and go from there. Car news wise, we're building things with basically the full second spec car still, but front wing, rear wing, spec 3 in development. They did vote on the cooling changes regulation wise as well, so that will actually now work against us because we've got good tyre preservation and engine cooling already, making my life harder. But the rear wing and the front wing should help the medium speed in particular. The rear wing actually has the highest effect on medium speed if you actually put effort into that area, which I didn't on the first one, which is probably why it's quite lacking. The third spec one will have more focus in the medium speed. It won't have as much effect on DRS and top speed and all that jazz like the first one did. It's focusing on medium speed. The front wing is mostly focusing on low speed, but it's also a reasonable contributor to medium speed, which is why I focus on those two parts in particular to get that up, get us to being a much more well-rounded vehicle. Daily air tolerance we're just going to have to deal with for a while. I think front wing has a little bit of effect on that. I think there's another part that does more for that. It might be side pods or the chassis. I can't remember which one it is, but it's one of the two bits we've not done again. However, for Miami, and we're going to do Miami, which isn't a sprint, and we're going to do Imola, which is a sprint. Wow, 20th. Okay, that's not great, because medium speed cornering is the crucial one. That's why we don't like it, apparently. The low speed is the crucial at Miami, along with high speed cornering and DRS effectiveness. That's why we are probably reasonably okay here, because we're okay low speed now, we're okay high speed. Top speed, we are 15th, but we're basically on the average, and DRS effectiveness is our main boon still. So we're going to be killer in that third sector. But yeah, we're just going to do the two because one of them is a sprint, and in the likelihood that Bahrain gets deleted, I'm not expecting it to actually work. Because if it was breaking constantly originally, I'm not expecting it to work, so I am anticipating we're going to lose another Grand Prix. We effectively are going to need to do two Grand Prix episodes, bare as minimum. But I might actually start just doing, whenever there is a sprint, just do 2 in those episodes, just to keep the average video length manageable, more than anything. I will say, by the way, if you're confused by the fact that Saudi Arabia is back on a Sunday, it's because I tried literally everything to try and fix Bahrain. I took the sprint off it. I put the thing back on Sunday just to see if that was what was breaking it for whatever reason. No idea. But like I say, I'm pretty certain the Bahrain issue is some kind of model loading issue. And Liam's doing all right with a positive attitude, isn't he? 98 aptitude, 100 out of 100 training as well. Zane, by the way, is still enthusiastic with his overall mentality, but he has the issue of having a new race engineer, so that's kind of neutering his overall confidence point in actual races. But anyway, without further ado, let's get 18th minimum. Yes, should be all right here. Should be all right here. Before we get into qualifying itself, once again, one of the tracks where we're strongest, heavy rain. At least in Australia, it was only qualifying, so no DRS for the race, probably. I am on the fence about sending Mick out again. I'm going to take a risk. Well, only needs to go again for whatever reason he had an issue, but Porsche improves by a few tenths, which makes me feel a little bit more confident it's going to be alright for Mick. Actually, a lot of people are on in-laps. Djokovic, Albon, Sargent Snowder. There's enough people on in-laps actually behind Mick. He's fine. There's also 3 people on flying laps behind Maloney, so absolutely necessary for Maloney to go. I don't know what's obviously up with the murk of Hamilton still, but Vesti and Magnussen are both ahead of Maloney, whilst their teammates are behind him. And considering Vesti and Hauger are the same rating, Hauger should at least be able to match Vesti. Actually, I don't know what rating Magnussen is in his... A couple of years in, he's probably regressing quite badly at this stage. Actually, I do want to address that point because there was a comment about the disparity between Mick and Maloney because of the youngsters' development rate. And yeah, Hauger does indeed go ahead of Maloney, so he needs this to be good. Russell goes 5th, so actually there is way more time in that murk. I did also boost quite a lot of, I was going to say middle-aged drivers, but for the purposes of the game, middle-aged, because the game has a twofold issue. Number one, it's the AI not refurbishing their facilities, which means they're not refurbishing their simulation center, which means they're not refurbishing that thing that actually gives development to drivers. So your drivers tend to be okay, but the AIs tend to regress because they're not developing as fast as they should be, so they're not counterbalancing that. The other thing is just the regression rate is just too high too early. They lose that development speed too quickly. I have boosted quite a lot of the 26, 25, 26, 20, like basically 25 to 30 year olds. And a couple of 30 pluses rates a little bit up. Not massively, but kind of moving a few of them from like mid 40s to about 60 in terms of that. So just putting them at the top end of that. And that includes drivers like Mick, includes drivers like Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris got a bit of a boost, George Russell got a bit of a boost, Lance Stroll got a tiny bit of a boost, but not a massive one. I'm trying to think. Albon got a tiny bit of a boost. Tsunoda actually got a bit of a boost because his development rate was actually quite bad, really, comparatively. So drivers in that kind of ballpark had a bit of a boost. Max got a bit of a boost as well, I think. Just to try and help them stave off this regression as best as they can. Carlos Sainz, of course, as well. All of them got a little bit more just to try and keep them in the sport at a good level and that little bit longer. But Mick got through there without using a second set of tyres, so good job there, mate. After, being criticised. Alrighty then, Mick, I need you to give it your all to get out of Q2 here. Maloney too, really, he's on the borderline. Hamilton found something in that car on his lap. Whether it was a slipstream or not, I don't know. I have a feeling Maloney's inside a vehicle. 1 second. I can see him ahead. Ah, yes, that could be somewhat problematic. Both drivers have gone slower in the first sector, because why wouldn't they? Maloney has gone purple in the middle sector, though, having got past the Alpine. I think the Alpine's fighting him back. Stop it, Alpine! That might end up costing Maloney, depending on how good that purple sector is. Yeah, it has cost. It was Vesti. Mick only goes 12th. I'm worried by Russell. I should have been worried by Bottas. Russell does go 7th then, though. 12th and 14th for the race. We were predicted 7th. This isn't great. Plenty of fresh soft tyres, though. Red Bull 1-2. Sainz from Stroll. Leclerc, Porsche again in 4th. Piastri, Ricciardo. They're struggling here for some reason. Max. George Hülkenberg in a 9th, beating Hamilton. Both Hasses, actually. And it's rain, of course, so... And it's only ever rain. Right, okay. I'm going to need some clarity on the rain situation here because there is a 13-lap discrepancy here in when to go on wets. That'll be why. Is that a stick it out on the wet situation? It's definitely not a stick it out on the intermediate situation. Mick's been absolutely done here with that strategy. There are too many laps there where the rain is too heavy. Because I would presume the general rule of thumb is when the blue line is above the orange line is wet. But I think it needs to be a little bit above it. I think it's kind of more here, essentially. Lap 21 rather than lap 20 when the changeover is. 21 to... And I think our predictions are like now 90%, so this should be fairly accurate. So 21 to 27, at the very least, is definitely wet. Then you'll probably got like 7 laps of intermediate again. And bear in mind the wets kind of work down to mild intermediate, kind of like 3 millimeters. They kind of work okay, that you don't lose a huge amount of time. I think it's definitely better to be on a wet. I don't fully know why this is on 2 though. There's obviously going to be that bit in the middle where we're going to have to look after them because they will overheat in the intermediate bit, but it's an entirely wet race, which is obviously not good for us. I'm going to go a little bit more aggressive on the fuel recovery as well, just because rain will bring it back anyway.
Well, it's great to have you with us, folks, as we settle in for the weekend's Grand Prix action.
They've got to drive a perfect race if they're going to fight up from P7 in this one.
This should certainly be a good one, folks. Here we go with the Miami Grand Prix. And it's lights out and away we go.
That was weird commentary on Max Verstappen. Why do they call him by name? Mick's got a 5 from 14th, Maloney from 12th. They have an Alpine in between them. They had an Alpine in between them. Now they're in flying formation. I think Mick actually might be marginally better adaptability-wise, so this could go in his favour. Plus, his boundary points confidence are better, but I think he did get squeezed out by Zayn there, so that's folded them back in quite nicely apart. Vesti is immediately off. His adaptability... Some of the young drivers tend to have like an attribute that's absolutely in the toilet, and I have a feeling, based on Vesti being 1.6 seconds off Mick already, I have a feeling that Vesti's might be adaptability. Some of them have like terrible smoothness. I think Porsche's smoothness is quite bad. Or it was in last year's game anyway. But yeah, Max has got Vesti. But yeah, based on how much Vesti's struggling, I feel like his adaptability might be rubbish. I might look it up afterwards. Oh no, I would need to have scouted him to see his attributes, which I haven't. Unfortunately, because this is a rainy race, I'm not expecting a huge amount to happen outside of incidents. I don't think it's going to be particularly big on overtakes. I feel like someone like Porsche may struggle though. I feel like he might go backwards. Hulkenberg might go backwards because his overall rating isn't superb. I'm actually wondering how good that Haas car is then, because Hulkenberg would be one of the lowest overall drivers on this field. So even he's managing to get that 9th. That Haas car must be like one of the top 4 cars. Sorry, we actually have had an overtake then. I was looking at the wrong driver. How the bloody hell has he done this? Oh, I'm guessing Hamilton's on the outside there. We were looking at the back of... That was a terrible camera angle. We were looking at the back of Bottas, not Hamilton. Get those tyre temps down and start recovering fuel because you'll recover it on medium. Safety car deployed. Well, that's fun. Mick's involved in this. Front wing. Oh, he is missing half an end plate. I don't know how much that's going to be a problem, but it is a safety car. So if you were just going to do it, then I need to watch this. Mick's clearly involved in it, but I think he's a passenger. Although actually, it might be Kevin into Mick. Yeah. Magnussen clips Mick first and then gets Hamilton fully. Poor Hamilton, by the way. First race he was actually doing all right in, and then he gets smashed again. If it's not one thing, it's Kevin. And they're both out. This, weirdly, is just like watching it from his perspective. But it's Kevin just clips Mick and then properly clips... I think because it's... I think if it was a VSC, I wouldn't bother. But I think because it's a safety car, I might as well sort the front wing out. Because it's lap 2 as well. Major collision cause as well. Magnussen 10-second penalty. That will be 5 grid place penalty next race because he's out. And also, by virtue of pitting Mick, he's actually forced the safety car to go round one more time. Should come in this lap though, I'd imagine. It did not. One more time we go round. It has to come in now. It's not going to help make any way, shape or form. Like, it's, you know, fresh tyres aren't any use at this stage. But because we had to go like a full 50 laps with that wing, I wasn't... And there was no way to see if there was a problem. Because obviously we weren't going at full speed. There's no way to see if that was actually hurting his lap times. To see if it was more beneficial to put him now when we've got the ability to get right back up again. 2RB's not doing well here, actually, worth noting. 16th, 17th. We found the track clearly where their strengths don't lie. Audi not too great here either. But the Alpine seemingly a little bit better here. For a car that is pointless so far, they borderline points. If there's a couple more that maybe vacate the top. Maloney's taken Bottas, I think. We'll watch that one. Actually, both drivers have overtaken both Aston Martins, I now realised. But, well, that's... I'll be honest, that's not great game. We'll pretend we didn't see that one. But it's obviously going to be difficult for Mick to get back into points from there, but it's slightly easier now Ricciardo's not in the race, probably. You normally get a lot of instances when the cars are at the top end because they're going faster, they're more likely to make mistakes. Ah, Charles Leclerc's involved as well. I didn't see him. So Ricciardo into Charles Leclerc, I assume. Leclerc's out. He had fastest lap. I don't think this Ricciardo retired is going to show anything, no, but I would presume he's the one that's gone into the back of Charles Leclerc. And speaking if there's a couple of retirements from the top 10, Hauger's in 10th. Williams is about to be the only pointless team again. A lot of people just pitted. Not fully sure why. Still looks to be similar situation. Like I say, it's 90% accuracy, so we're not going to be far off. I do need to put the wet back on again. But it does give Mick a bunch of free places, effectively. And we don't need to conserve anymore. And we get some free conservation again, which is nice. Let everyone get caught up. Safety car's ending immediately. White, okay. That's wild. Let's get going again then. I've actually not managed to actually go on my normal strategy with tyres yet. It's either been full 5 push or conserve behind a safety car. But I had enough free laps to actually just go on the 4 push. Sorry, Porsche's leading. I've just noticed Porsche's leading. We'll go on board with Maloney. He's looking at the back of Hulkenberg, who's currently 4th, because both Red Bulls, Russell, Vesti, for some reason, and Drogovic pitted. Hauger's in 7th. I don't know why they pitted. They're only 20% better tyres. They must be going for the strategy where they're staying on the intermediates in the wet period. That is very accurate, actually, Mark. Nico is ahead, and Bottas is behind. Wow, Slade's got all of the voice lines. I love the immersion of him. Bird's surprisingly quiet now. Maloney immediately. It's currently P4, I think you're fine. He's actually got Nico beside him, I think, actually. And now behind him, who is really struggling on this restart for whatever reason. We'll watch it maybe from a different angle. Yes, indeed, we do. I mean, this is action-packed so far. I said it was about to be a boring race, maybe, apart from incidents, and we've had incidents. The game heard me, evidently. Mick nosing Gasly, but not making a full move. As Sainz in pursuit. Right, there's some highlights to watch here because I didn't think that much more was going to happen, and much more has happened. That's a helicam view of Zane Maloney, who was 4th at that point, getting Verstappen. I think he gets a drive out of here on Porsche, who was just overtaken for the lead. That's turn 1. That's the end of our pushing, of course, but the other highlight is going to be Mick on Gasly, and Gasly's not even visible in this shot, so it might be Fittipaldi. It does appear to get Fittipaldi. Maloney takes fastest lap, though, as well, for good measure. That's Maloney on Porsche. We saw that in motion, so now we get to watch it in full. Not in motion. That is second, Zane. Yellow flag for whom? Schumacher overtakes Fittipaldi, we saw. I want to know what the yellow flag was for. Oh, it's Porsche running wide in 6th, so that's why he's lost a place to Verstappen as well. Around we go, in a lovely Piastri-Verstappen sandwich. This is Uncharted Charity, Zane, I think. I'm not sure he was ever in a sniff for the win on Australia, but he wasn't. He obviously did get the podium in the end. I think he was leading or in the leading pack at times, but from what I remember. But I don't really think I ever held out too much hope we'd actually win that race. Great shot there, though, of all the cars on that main straight, effectively. The Haasers are fighting. That's going to cost them. Hulkenberg does fastest lap. I think whoever does the fastest lap while this track is a little bit drier is absolutely going to get the point at the end of the race, which annoyingly is looking like it's going to be Hulkenberg. The Red Bulls are fighting in 15th, 16th. Russell's gone through, weirdly. Schumacher overtakes Fittipaldi, but I don't remember him being re-overtaken before that. And Piastri now just driving away, does fastest lap. Okay, so Piastri gets that then. Lap 15, Mick still 11th. Gasly with a margin behind, but Hauger is falling through. Verstappen overtakes Maloney is a sentence I didn't see and didn't want to see. End of the main straight. Just gets the drive, just faster in a straight line is Max Verstappen in that Ferrari. Top speed. Top speed obviously more important there because there's no DRS. But Mick getting antsy for a point here behind Hauger, who might end up, despite being in the points when safety car ended, might end up outside the points, depressingly for Alpine. I was really rooting for him. In fact, actually, he's dropped well off Sonoda. This could be the move now. 1 lap later. It is. That's Mick up the inside and back in the points. After Magnussen tried to assassinate him and ended up assassinating Lewis Hamilton instead. Interesting that he's struggling with tyres. Temperatures. So he's definitely getting wetter now. I heard a crash. I could see a stationary vehicle. They've just reset the vehicle. I think that was Hauger. That's sad. Realistically, that would probably be a red flag. But they've just reset him. Mick's getting Sonoda for 9th. The RBs are seemingly quite bad. Verstappen's pitted this lap. It's too late for Maloney, but does he know something we don't? Is it about to go wet? It's a little bit early. Oh, we have a second bit at the end now as well, where it goes dry. I genuinely don't know what to do in this one. I think you stay in wets in that middle bit, but I don't know what to do at the end. Because it looks like it's going to be well worth going on to intermediates and then well worth going back onto wets. I want to see what more people do here before I commit to... Actually, before I commit to Mick, actually. But Mick needs to make a commitment. Why is the commitment for the pit entry, like, here? Porsche's come in. I'll make the commitment with Mick now, then. This is kind of the changeover, about 3.5. So if it's going to continue to get wet, then I might as well get Mick in now. Remove any issues of any problems double stacking. Obviously, they were well apart on the track, but, you know, if Maloney has a slow stop, then it could still be a problem. They're definitely bringing in a Red Bull. It's not really wetting up that much, but a lot of people have come in there. It's a nice bit of clear track to drive on, though. Healthy margin to Vesti, so he's got plenty of time to get these tyres up to temperature. I think Zane's about to get away with it because most of the time it's going to be wet territory. He's going to be on a main straight, so it's now officially wet. He's only really got this last corner to deal with. I think they might end up losing out here, Maloney and Piastri, to Verstappen and Pourchaire. Although Pourchaire's stuck in Stroll and Verstappen's stuck here, so actually they probably won't gain at all. Depending on how much time he managed to gain up to Tsunoda and Albon, probably not actually going to lose too much. Might just go aggressive on Mick here, just to get as much temperature as we can. Deploy as well. Watch Zane in the pits, see if he loses anything just because of pit box placement. Quickish stop, not great. Stays behind Piastri, I presume that to be ahead. Sargent still hasn't pitted, that's dumb. Vesti hasn't pitted. I just need to have a look at this because I need to keep this prepared just in case it is worth doing this. So 44.52, so it's 8 laps. That was just easy, mostly just for the easy way to see how many laps it was back on intermediates, if that was going to be a thing. Struggling to get temperature into these tyres, actually. It's got it now, though. On the inside of Vesti, please. Thank you very much. Don't waste any more time getting past him. Cheers. Yeah, and actually, crucially as well, Maloney did come out ahead of Verstappen. I didn't notice that till just now. He did get held up. Hulkenberg now pits. Way too late. Sargent still doesn't pit. He's definitely just sticking it out onto the next intermediate window, which truthfully might work out. It might work out. It looks to be less laps now. But Mick was, I think, 9th when he pitted anyway. If he gets back to 9th by the time we hit the intermediates, well, when the intermediates do eventually go on to wets later on, if he's in 9th then, when they've all pitted, then we're okay. We just saw him do that, so don't need to worry about that. Bring that back as well on Zane. So it's 4 seconds to Piastri, it's 4 seconds back to Verstappen as well. Mick targeting the next intermediate sticker-outer. Still roughly about 4 seconds with Maloney and Verstappen. So not losing a huge amount to Max, who is very good in the wet. Oh, the poor Alpine, 16th, 18th. Oh, it was looking all right for a moment for them. I need you to do this cleanly, Mick. Please. Thank you. Just so much more grip at the corners. Lost so much time, though, there. But then Hulkenberg's lost time getting through Stroll and Bottas, who are also on intermediate still. So yeah, it's worth saying, of course, it doesn't matter if these intermediates get about 20 seconds because then they have to pit onto wets. So any time that we gain on them now is good because they'll get it back in the intermediate period, possibly. But as long as they don't run away 20 seconds up the road, then we'll still be ahead of them when they eventually pit onto wets. They'll have better tyres, but they'll be behind. Realistically, actually, Maloney's in a really good spot because a pit stop still takes him to Hulkenberg, pretty much. And these tyres are okay down to about 3.5, so it might be, wow, actually, that really changed. 90% accurate, my arse. The wets hold on. So this is the pain bit where the intermediates come back in. And of course, adaptability really comes to the forefront. Verstappen right on the back of Maloney now because adaptability is so much better. You can say, protect these tyres as much as we can during the pain period. Pourchaire's adaptability clean, not great either. So he had enough to stick with Max there for a little bit. And now it's wet. So this is the bit. This is the next wet period. We've managed to hold it out. We've stayed within a second of Max, and everyone's still 10 seconds behind Pourchaire. A further 16 seconds back to Hulkenberg. We've got a pit stop well in hand on Hulkenberg. The worst we can be is 4th again. And all them lot who pitted off intermediates and go back to normal speed on these wet tyres now. So Mick is 8th. Sainz's wets are absolutely shot. I mean, this is the thing, is we protected these tyres. Interestingly, Piastri seems to have the AI to have preserved these tyres during the intermediate period, whereas Max didn't, and is going to have to pit again. So these tyre temps should come back down again now. And crucially, we've got plenty of time on those people who went wet late, decided to stick it out. Mick's up to 7th, 2 seconds to Sainz, who probably will haul him in. Max pits. He was going to have to, but Max pits. Fuel's nearly back as well now. Haven't had to do anything with that. Max picks onto another set of wets, which, yeah, sure, right now that's useful, but I don't know if this is better to go onto intermediates if we want to try and stick it out again. Because it's 40 seconds worth of pit stop, pitting twice. I don't know if you lose that by going... I might just follow Piastri. Whatever Piastri does, I'll do the same. Like I say, we've effectively got a free pit stop to Hulkenberg still. Verstappen's coming back, but he'll get stuck on Pourchaire. So worst case scenario would be 4th, and we can probably get Pourchaire back. We can push the engine as well, fuel-wise. Some of the people who didn't protect their tyres as well during the intermediate period are now going to be struggling as well. Because that's the thing is, do you stick... Because if you put a new wet on now, they're going to burn in that intermediate period again. And then they're not going to be great at the end. So Toledo... The Toledo for Mick is a lot more problematic. I've just realised we're not actually going to have the warning for Piastri because the pit entry line is not going to be... no, we might do actually, yeah. Yeah, I just realised how much more we had to negotiate at the end of this lap. So we should be able to see if Piastri pits before we need to make a decision. Is he going to come off those intermediate wets? Is this worth it? Because that gets a lot drier than that did. My concern here, though, mostly is that these tyres won't survive going through that intermediate period anyway, these wet tyres. So we have to change onto another set of tyres anyway. So I think we have definitely got a pit stop necessary. No matter what we want to do, there's definitely one pit stop left. Whether we want to just burn these tyres, just trying to stick out in the intermediate and then going on fresh wets, or if you want to switch on to intermediates and then hope for the best. It's whether pitting for another set of intermediates and we'll be able to get that time back and then going on the wets anyway. I think there's not a huge amount of risk to do this with Maloney. Mixed tyres are worse to begin with, is the problem. And this group is way too close together. He'll come out where Vesti is, roughly. I'm gonna have to do it because I don't think we've got the tyres for what we want to do. I think worst case scenario, you'll probably lose about net 10 seconds because there's not enough laps to actually gain time on these intermediates. At the very least, we're going to be smashing the DHL pit stop at some point, giving us so many chances there. But we've got so many laps to try and get this done. Because we're only 8 seconds behind Verstappen and Porsche, and they're going to be on tyres that are melting. That was a slow stop for Mick. Not great. Yeah, so he's probably not even going to come out ahead of Vesti. Oh, he has come out ahead of Vesti. Okay, that's good. So I mean, like, people like Bottas, we're going to have to come in anyway. In fact, actually, why am I not just destroying these? Go for them. Guess Porsche, no problem. Deploy from them. He's right on the back of Max. How many more laps of this have we got? Not enough. Not enough. Of course, I knew it was going to happen. I knew as soon as we did it, this would tighten. What tire did Bottas go onto? A new set of wets. Well, that being said, it's gone a lot lower again. I'll give Mick... Interestingly, Piastri's pitting now as well. Hulkenberg's got a puncher because he's stayed on these wet tyres. Everyone switched to new wets, interestingly. Still 1.8. It's going down more, and now it's coming straight back up again. Mick, definitely come off this. Mick, go back onto a new set of wets. I need to see what it is at the point of pit entry because that's going up rapidly. Sarge's got a puncture. Right, so in terms of times, Maloney's only got 10 seconds on Verstappen, who pitted earlier onto those wets, let's not forget, so he was gaining time anyway. Do we think he can get around another lap here? It's 2.3. I think we just go now. It's going up quite quickly. So last I could possibly do it, but the crucial thing is Maloney, no matter what, comes out ahead of Stroll here, so he's still at worst third. So it was very little risk. Mick, however, will come out around Drogovic in 12th, but they'll be on brand new wets when a lot of these people are on 40%. Notably, Max Verstappen's on 49%, so he might be about 10 seconds behind him when he comes out, but he'll have brand new wets. I think that was a sensible gamble. I think it was longer than that showed it to be. I don't think the weather did what this said it did there, because it was consistently going down for about 3 or 4 laps, from about 2.5 to 1.8, I think it was at the lowest. And 10 laps to go, we can burn these. Maloney is 10 seconds off the leader. Sorry, was I looking at leader rather than interval? Oh no, because Maloney was the leader, that's why. So Mick comes in, needs to go back on wets. That's perfect for Mick as well. 3.5 was the weather when he came in. In fact, he comes out 9th ahead of... I presume they're just red rim tyres. Like, yeah, he's actually on wets. They just have red on the tyres. Tyre walls. Crucially, though, 44%. Bit of deployment gets him away. I think we're in a really good spot here because Maloney's cut that gap by a huge amount. Piastri's uncatchable because he's coming later than everyone else. Lap 50, he's within a second. This will be new highest position if we can get a second. He was 3rd in Australia. Considering the front wing incident, it's not a bad recovery from Mick here. I'll be going to get decent points when the car's not great here, seemingly as well. 44% those tyres. They'll get to the end, they won't be a problem. Tyre wear of wet tyres in wet conditions is slow, but the benefit is we have 50% better tyres. Hulkenberg's an absolute shocker, he's 10th now. This is a dogfight. Is he going to outbrake him? No. Does he have the drive out of here? No. As far as Porsche's not taking Stroll yet either, though. Mick gets Russell. I just let Maloney harvest up a little bit there because he's never going to catch Piastri. Max is the only person that's worth Zane's time now. So we get him back within a second and then we might be able to actually deploy him past. So we've got a little bit of battery in the tank now. Force him to the outside, make him defend, switch to the inside, Zane, switch to the inside, switch to the inside, Zane. What are you doing? Are you even trying, Zane? What are you doing? Does the fastest lap, Zane, which I presume I don't know when he did that. Oh, it must have been when it dried up, when we were the only people on intermediates. I didn't even clock that, of course. Yeah, obviously that was the driest the track ever was, really. All right, deployment will give us the speed advantage we needed. Get him, Zane. Get him. Bye, Max. It was fun playing with you for a moment there, but watch it from a different angle, but it is basically a straight line overtake. It's not that exciting. Using the ERS to overcome the overall power difference between the Ferrari engine and the Audi engine. And he has no more ERS, so drive away. Mick has sights in his sights. What's his tyres like? 36! This is going to be fun. Mick can definitely get to 6th here. Sonoda is just ahead as well. You can see him there. Maybe give it a lap, Mick. I feel like, yeah, now you're close enough. I feel like Sonoda would be easier than Sainz. Yeah, but only he's dropped Verstappen now, he's passed him, which is good. I think realistically we're not going to get Piastri, so there's no real point pushing and hurting the engine, even though, you know, fuel-wise, like, just lower the chance of accident, lower the chance of the engine having an issue or whatever. Preserve it as much as we can. So get the drive to get Sainz, please. And now hunt down Sonoda. I think realistically, once he's through Sonoda as well, Porsche's ungettable as well. I don't think Stroll's going to lose 17 seconds in 3 laps, but he could do. If he has a puncture, then he could do. 33% and broken car. A very slight out. He's still doing a 149.1, because of course he is. Non-functional car, 33% wet tyres, still faster than Mick. Make it make sense, please. And he's fighting Porsche as well, like he's defending. 3 laps to go. How are you not catching Mick? Oh, it's gone to damp at the very end, is it? That's marginally awkward. Actually, that could work out for Mick, because that might burn these guys' tyres off at the end here. Final lap, like. This will burn whatever remaining tyres these guys have. Stroll might be about to be in a world of pain here. Yeah, puncture. Oh no, that's a mechanical fault. His car gave up before his tyres did. Do everything here, Mick. Do everything here to get Sonoda. And just come back down. Stroll's out. It's a 5th for Mick. Double points for RB, though. We're going to end with fuel in the tank, but realistically, it will be Maloney 2nd, though. Another great podium. I think we played that as best as we could, really. Mick having to pit early for that front wing aside. Like, it looks bad, there's 50 seconds between them, but that's 50 seconds that's just compounded by being behind other vehicles and getting stuck behind them. That's not just raw pace. Maloney basically always had the benefit of being able to pit into free air, whereas Mick had to work his way through people and still ended up 5th. It was a valiant effort from Mick. Djokovic gets a puncture at the very end. Relevant, he was 12th. That's what I was kind of hoping for with Stroll, but he decided to retire anyway. What a race. Up 10 places, up 9 places for both vehicles, despite having to do an extra pit stop for a wing change for Mick Schumacher. That, actually, not bad. Actually, if it wasn't for the extra pit stop, Mick would have been ahead of Teo no matter what. He might have been 28 seconds off Max Verstappen, but if Mick had less traffic to have dealt with because of that extra pit stop, then might have been in a much better position. 10 points to Mick keeps him 8th, despite the fact that Teo picks up 12 and on his tail. But Zane Maloney picks up another 19 points for fastest lap as well. Joins Max on 60 points. 3rd and 4th. That's wild, really. We stay 4th behind Ferrari on 80 points as well. Joint there. Has to go up to 5th. RB up go to 6th. It's all changed. Mercedes are down to 7th. Aston Martin down to 8th. Audi down to 9th. After obviously a great first race, it's all gone wrong. Eventually we got a pit stop in this. 2.25 for Zane. Not great though. It was actually his last one. And it's actually the first time we had to pay out Mick there, 128 grand for being better than 6th. Oh, we had to do some refurbishments because obviously it didn't tell you a lot of the staff stuff was the operation stuff. A lot of this had tipped under, so Toro Centre, like 63%. Like, it just doesn't tell you. But we actually have 2 weeks till Imola, which is nice. All right, then. A new sponsor plan as well. We've got a CFD Simulator advert, which doesn't seem great. Abby Pulling gets us a free 858 there, really. Still feel like we're using the factory quite a lot, so I don't want to use that, ideally. Never really understand this one because it's the head of aerodynamics and technical chief, whereas then just technical chief is one that's only 400 less, and just aerodynamics gives you one that's 300 more. Right, so there's a crucial check in here. Do we have it? We do have enough underfloors to put one on both cars, at least to start learning it. Not a huge change. It's a bit more dirty air tolerance. In fact, it was the underfloor that did. Wow, actually, sorry. It's only 4.7%, but that's what? Okay, well, just to be clear. Right now, 21st in dirty air tolerance. If I put on the underfloor and just the underfloor, 7th. Interestingly, we are 2nd in DRS effectiveness now, which means there is one vehicle that is better. We are still worst in... we do have one more of each suspension, well, which gives us more low speed, medium speed. It's a lot worse on tyre preservation. I messed up with this suspension, because that's quite a lot down. I don't know if the benefits are good there. Medium speed is the key here. Top speed, cornering, high speed. It gave us a bit. It gives us a bit in that, but tyre preservation isn't great now. Not terrible, but it's not great. I kind of like being a little bit more consistent though across the board. So I'll leave them on. I'm not super happy with that tyre preservation going down. Oh, no one's sad now as well. Everyone's enthusiastic or better. Anyway, I'll see you for the sprint at Imola. Taking the risk of only going once in SQ1. Realistically, the tyres are... Oh, mind you, the tyres don't really seem to ever matter if they're fresh or not, but weirdly, if you use the same set of tyres twice in the same session, they do seem to be worse the second time round. But if you put a brand new set on, they never seem to actually be better. I don't really understand how this works, frankly. A lot of people coming out of the pits now at 1 minute 40 on the clock, and they're not going to finish a lap. What are they doing? The imbeciles. They're just going to get in the way of our lap. I went when I did because there was a batch of people going out and I wanted to be towards the front of it in case there was a yellow flag or whatever. Because Imola's not without its dangerous spots. Right on cue. Gasly running wide on 13. That was just behind us, I think, actually. He was at the end there. But yeah, we're going to have a huge spot bother. Depending on, I suppose, actually, those people who just came out are going to have to pelt it, so they probably won't be going slowly on an outlap. But I think we're still going to catch them, annoyingly. We are following McLaren through. Magnussen, I think, had yellow flag originally. That's why his time is slow. Ricciardo might be out here. Actually, Piastri's come out even though he didn't need to. Ricciardo might be out. You know, some of them might actually make the line. But the problem is, some of them are going to be passed here. It depends when they actually start going. Because this Alpine's kind of in the way. And that might push the Alpine out of qualifying. Djokovic is on an outlap. He's definitely not making the line. Maloney got stuck. That was the risk. Well, it was really a risk because I didn't think any AI was going to be stupid enough to leave that late. But makes sense, that's the pace of the car. Maloney, oh, he's last actually. He was definitely caught there. So Ricciardo's not out then. It's only a sprint. That's the gamble. Porsche's just had a mare there. Turn 7?
But oh, they
I don't think I've seen anyone do that before. Porsche finding new cutscenes, really. He's right ahead on track as well, so I don't know if that's... do hope he's going to come in. He does, thankfully, yeah. 1 lap for Mick to do something here. I think he might be alright traffic-wise as well, because we sent him out a lot later, so I think everyone's on a flyer. Or Stroll, or an outlapper, but they're on the opposite side of the track. So we're not going to catch the 3 that are still on outlaps. There's no comparison, so this is irrelevant. Round Mick goes. 1:13.0 is Piastri's time. Vesti is the one we want to beat. 1:13.9, really, that is. Cool. Make that make sense. Someone else went faster anyway, so that's not too much of a problem. Like, our car wasn't predicted super well here, even with the upgrades. Piastri, Sainz, Verstappen, Stroll, Leclerc. Basically the big 3 in the top 6. Then it's the Hasses, Mercedes, and Aston Martin. I say big 3 now because Merck and that have dropped off again. I believe Imola is definitely a medium sprint. Yes, it is.
And it's lights out, and away we go.
Yeah, but he's got all the work to do. Albon's damaged from the start of the race. If Mick can get Vesti again immediately, like he did last race, I don't know what it is about Mick and Frederic Vesti right now, but they appear to be best of buddies when it comes to qualifying, next to each other all the time. But Mick gets him again. Hamilton is fighting him now. So yeah, it's realistically has evidently the 4th fastest car, or maybe even the 3rd fastest car, just with drivers who aren't the same caliber as the top 3 teams. Although actually, Porsche is probably around about Ricciardo level now. They're probably around 80 something. So, and Stroll from that. I think they're all around 81 now. So we're hunting Russell now. That's not going to be an overtake, unfortunately. But that is there. Has he made it stick? He has made it stick. I'll take him off push now. I feel like I can probably get away with a little bit more with... Actually, I never actually bothered checking with Zane, but I feel like I can get away with... just about get away with 4 push with Zane. So I'll get his tower temperatures back down again. Maloney's past Hauger as well for good measure. He's got 3 cars. Might make it 4 now with Sargent, who has DRS as well, but ours is excellent. Yes, DRS, of course, activated. Got Russell back past Mick. Zane slowly getting his way through the field. That's Fittipaldi dealt with. He's actually on the back of Hamilton now. But we'll watch the Fittipaldi overtake because that wasn't in DRS. How the bloody hell's he done that? Oh, it's top of the hill. Right, okay. I was struggling to identify. I say he's on the back of... Sorry, he's not on the back of Hamilton. He's behind Hamilton. Mick's still on the back of Russell. Bottas has gone through the Hasses. I was about to say, if Mick could capture the DRS off the Haas, then we might be okay here, having overtaken Russell again. At 13, we have caught the Hasses. There is a chance of a point here for Mick, because that is 8. Deploy from here, Mick. Get yourself in an overtaking position. Say, because Porsche won't have DRS. Get yourself at the front of this queue and hope they fight each other. They didn't really fight each other. But that was a lovely 2-for-1 special on Hasses there. You can't see Hulkenberg, but he's on the inside. Mind you, who's that? Is that Bottas? Perhaps I should keep deploying and just get him in that DRS. Hopefully. At the very least, maybe we can break the DRS second, but I don't think that's going to be possible. No, it isn't. He's going to be able to come back. Porsche's struggling, though. Appears to be a straight fight with Hulkenberg. Actually, Maloney's struggling, surprisingly. Djokovic has now come through. Yeah, we're going to have to bide our time with Hulkenberg, I think, and try and make sure... Oh, no, actually, he's dropped out for a second. That's good. I was about to say, we're going to have to bide our time with Hulkenberg, but it's probably going to have to bide our time with Russell. If he gets within a second on the final lap, we're going to be in a minor issue here, because I think if I just attack everything on this lap, get outside of a second of Russell and Hulkenberg, looking at the wrong driver, make sure I break that, make sure I break everything, make sure there's zero chance of Hulkenberg, Russell, Porsche getting this 8th place. Actually, might even get Bottas's DRS if I'm lucky. Can't push the fuel any more than that. Don't quite get the DRS off Bottas, unfortunately. I mean, I don't really know what I'm trying with Zane. Bodes well for the race, this though. We're not as uncompetitive here as I thought we would be. No, there isn't. No, there isn't, Mark. You can get 12th, which is pointless in the normal race, even more pointless in the sprint. And Bottas clearly had something left in the tank there. Haas has struggled in the race, I seem. They qualify well, but they struggle in the race. It's kind of actually a bit like real life. Although the Haasses are okay in real life now in the race as well, but that old trend for the Haasses is coming back to fruition. Oh, we got Tsunoda. We'll just watch that briefly. Just blast past him. That's the two Haasses. He nearly got on the back of them. It's a great drive from Zane, actually, realistically. If he'd been reasonable in his qualifying, that might have been good points. Alas, it's one for Mick. We'll take. Lovely, lovely point for Mick. Zane up 10 places in a sprint is bonkers. So normal qualifying, we've got softs in spades. I'm trying to work out if that's a good lap for Maloney. Because either a lot of front runners have had average laps, or Tsunoda's just pulled out an absolute blinder. I don't know whether to send Maloney again. I suppose he has got one more soft than everyone else, because Mick got hindered immediately on pit exit, so he's in the mire right now, so he needs to pull out something here, but it's about 4/10. I don't know if there's track evolution here. If there is, I am worried about it. Hasn't quite got his tyres up to temperature, but he should do by the actual start-finish line, I would imagine, or thereabouts. Clean track as well. Don't know about slow-moving vehicles, but appears to be clear track. A lot of cars on top of each other, just behind him, actually. Leclerc's on top of a Merc. It's George Russell. And both of them are not too far behind what I think is a Audi. So they're all going to get stuck on each other at some point there. I think that Leclerc Russell probably needed to go again. Maloney's gone slower. Ah, did he get caught on those two trying to get out of the way? Is that why he was slower? It's well, no, because it's a sprint and we only have one qualifying, one practice session. His status quo point is in medium, not in high, because of his new race engineer. Maloney is going slower, so sure. Seems like he got the best out of it first time round. Probably didn't need to go again. Yeah, it doesn't improve at all. PS3 in the 112s now in regular qualifying. Mick goes 7th. That's a hell of a lap from the back. Ricciardo needs to pull something out. Is he? He's on a flyer, I think. Is he going to have any issues? No, the traffic should pull into the pits before he gets there. We'll keep an eye on him. Currently 18th. Both Haasses in spot of bother, but they're both flying laps behind. Ricciardo goes 4th. That's him fine. Hauger's out. Porsche 11th. That's Bottas out. That's a big one. Hulkenberg next. Gasly on track? Gasly is on track. I think he's moving relatively quickly, so he might do something here. Hulkenberg goes 11th. That puts Fittipaldi out. It's going to be an Audi or an Alpine. Both Williams already out. I feel like he had to negotiate traffic there, Gasly. Yeah, only goes ahead of his teammate. Audi's fallen right off. Ricciardo had a lock-up on his outlap, which has put everyone in all sorts of problems in that pack that came out with him. He also put Maloney in a spot of bother because he got caught up behind it. A bit of, I don't know, timing error on my part actually had Mick come out ahead of Maloney in the end of the pit, so that wasn't because of that. That was me, the fact that Mick's on track ahead of Maloney this time, but Maloney then got stuck in the Ricciardo problem. A lot of people have had iffy laps on their used set of tyres, presumably used set of tyres, first runs at least. So this could be a bit carnage. Sainz has gone top. I think he's already done a second lap. Tsunoda, Ricciardo. Oh, it might be Ricciardo's in lap actually, that. Or all done. Or maybe he damaged himself and went back in the pit. That's why he's checker flagged. Leclerc's in the pit. He's done a second lap. Verstappen's in the pit. He's done a second lap as well, I think. The other RB of Albon is completing a flying lap. At the very least, he's taking the checker flag. Maloney's chasing, I think, Stroll. I haven't checked the sectors. This would be a complete surprise, depending on what happens here. Mick, brand new tyres, goes 7th. That's a jump. Maloney, brand new tyres, goes... That's Stroll 3rd. Behind him, actually, 9th. Interestingly, Mick seemingly vaguely consistently ahead of, or at least on par with Zane. Leclerc's out in 13th. That's a shock. Haas is the last to cross the line again. Hulkenberg was first. He only goes 15th. So we're both through no matter what. Russell's out. Porsche could displace Albon. It looks like the RBs are better at what is effectively their home track. Porsche was done. The one saving grace is, despite the fact that Mick got held up immediately as he started his flying lap again. It's like the AI teams deliberately do it to get in the way. They get in each other's way as well. We'll go on board with Maloney. Both drivers in Q3. Did we have both drivers in Q3 in Australia? I think we might have. I feel like we should have, if we didn't. But obviously Q3 is a very variable thing of late. These laps should be faster because they are fresh tyres. That's a vehicle out of the way. Thank you very much for getting out of the way quite neatly there. Actually surprised it's taking that long to get past Lance Stroll, who wasn't that far ahead of on track. Slower first sector. Slower first sector. Brand new tyres. And you were hindered originally, Mick, in the first sector. So I don't know how you managed to do that again, unless Stroll hindered you again there. There's somebody inside the RB. So I think they're going to be... It might actually be both RBs on top of each other. Past a middle sector from Zayn. That's an improvement. His first lap was really good, but I think people have sorted their laps out since. Mick's going slower. How are you going slower again? Zayn doesn't improve, all told. Mick doesn't improve either. I don't know how, but Ricciardo only goes 9th. It's 5th and 8th, and he's got a penalty. What I would have given for 5th and 8th at the start of the sprint, blimey. So the fun thing is, of course, we do have soft tyres. Two-stop, it's a very long pit stop here, so two-stop is not ideal. Of course, the issue with this is if we push the tyres at all, Mick is going to have to come back off them at some stage. I mean, bare minimum we do that. Meanwhile, Zayn has time to spare there. So pull his back by 2 laps. It's 4 laps of fuel out, and like we'll push him off the line, but I'm gonna have to take Mick off tyres like straight away. Honestly, hoping for an incident early on that doesn't involve our drivers.
Well then, it's not long until we get started here, and we should be in for a tightly contested race. And there's no doubting that Lance Stroll is prepared to put in the hard work.
It's a P2 start for them, an excellent opportunity, and no doubt they'll be looking to grab it with both hands.
Here we go. It's time to go racing. This is it, the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go.
So, 2 top 10 starts for our drivers, 1 top 5 in Maloney. Can they hold on to that into turn 1? I was about to say no, but Mick is currently 5th. Has he made the move stick? But he has then. All right, that's it. Literally cannot push you any more than that. Otherwise, you're going to be in a world of pain at the end of this stint. You're going to be in a world of pain anyway, because hadn't even clocked that. Maloney overtakes Verstappen. Where is Verstappen in this picture? I don't know which side he's on. I presume he was on the outside before the corner. We should really be watching him. Yeah, so Mick might struggle while the other teams still push their cars early on here. The saving grace was probably likely the fuel situation. Sorry, no, he's ahead of Hamilton. I was like, how is he a second off the car in front? Because he's overtaken Hamilton. That's Maloney there. Love Mick using Maloney as an incentive. Probably need to take him off now as well. Sainz and Stroll are not staying with their respective vehicles because Piastri's on fastest lap. That's detached Stroll right off. But, sorry, that's Mick on Verstappen. My brain hadn't even worked that one out. I thought, how's Maloney fighting Verstappen? That was Mick fighting Verstappen. That wasn't Maloney fighting Verstappen. Maloney's ahead dealing with Sainz. Right, of ERS though. Mick is not within a second of Sainz and won't be within a second of Sainz, so that'll be a problem. And I'm really praying that Maloney stays within a second of Stroll by the detection point. Oh, actually, we're good in that sector for whatever reason. We're really good through there. That definitely gets him DRS, which obviously is also really good. I'll draw us right up to the back of Lance Stroll. The one thing I worry about here is if Verstappen gets me back. The one thing I worry about here is this is partially because of our underfueling. As good as we are right now, and as much as we're fighting for a podium seemingly with Maloney, I think we might settle into like 6th by the end of this. 6th and 7th. Oh no, 5th and 6th might be on the cards there. Depending on what Ricciardo can do, 5th and 6th, and Leclerc. Depending on what those two can do, we're kind of in that 5th to 8th boundary, I think. Maloney overtakes Stroll. As I was talking about that, completely missed this overtake. DRS? DRS. Okay, yeah, no real faff there. Sainz might get him as well, I'm not sure. On the other side, or does Sainz get squeezed out? He does get shot off. We're not leaving Stroll behind, so this is obviously going to be the where we are. Mick got Verstappen again. I didn't even notice that. So Mick is fighting Verstappen, legitimately, backwards and forwards. Which is good, because that's kind of arresting his progress and staying in that pack with the Red Bulls. I think realistically, I mean, Maloney just stays on the fringes of DRS, which is what's saving him. He's just overtaken Stroll again. What I was going to say, though, is it might not be the worst thing in the world if Sainz overtakes Maloney at some point. It may not be just sort of staying on the tail of the two of them. Resty pits early, two-stopping. Mick's falling off for Verstappen now. A lot of yellow flags, very little in the way of actual incidents. Lap 19, and even Stroll and Sainz aren't really doing overtakes. They're there. They'll probably do it now, I've said that, but yeah, they will this time. I don't know. Sod's law, innit? But yeah, they've not really been overtaking. I suppose they must have been if he's got peak confidence, but having dropped off, actually, this could be a good opportunity to do this. I don't really know what to do with Maloney because I definitely need to do some laps of recovery. So Maloney's pit window is ahead of Mick's, actually, which is surprising considering the tyre wear rates, but Sainz pits early. Didn't expect him to go that early. Burn the tyres. I need Mick to get to his target lap. Oh, of course, Maloney has a pit stop issue. Of course he has a pit stop issue. In a race where he's fighting for second, legitimately. I mean, they weren't trying to put it on. That's why it went wrong. They weren't even trying to put it on. The wheel cut wasn't even there. Good stuff from Mick, though. Just come out 11th. I don't know who hasn't pitted. Oh, only Hauger hasn't pitted. So that's not great. He's still only 5 seconds behind Verstappen, though. Porsche Drugovich pitted earlier, so I think that's 2-stop. Oh, Ricciardo hasn't pitted either. So actually, Maloney's 5th after pit stops. He is detached because of the pit stop issue from the Red Bull, but he is still kind of comfortably 4th, realistically. And we'll just have to keep going aggressive on the fuel recovery at this stage, and just hope for the best. Schumacher gets Hauger to get back into the points. That's not where you do an overtake, Mick. Good God. Flipping heck, Mick, from that camera angle as well. That was heart-stopping. Wait, is Ricciardo pitted or is he just... Yeah, no, he's just burning those hards as far as he can take them. Comes out 15th. Wow. He'll power back through, though, on mediums, I assume. Oh, softs. Okay. Yeah, he'll power back through on those, then. As Mick gets Bottas. Again, Toast... I think that's where Maloney got Max at the start, but... Again, not really a corner for overtaking. Mick loves to do overtakes in these unconventional spots. Yeah, so Maloney is, well, almost a pit stop off the lead now, but wow, he's really struggling. We'll probably come off the fuel recovery now, and just go aggressive at the end if we still need a bit. So, lap 47 is, in terms of events, not huge. Tsunoda pits again. Mick will be 7th when this resolves. He's in a train that starts with Porsche and ends with Russell actually behind him. I thought we had more cars there, but Ricciardo's chasing and will catch. So as much as this is going to be a 6th place for Mick, thanks to our excellent DRS getting us past the pass there and clearing him by the corner, Porsche's tyres aren't much worse, but I think he might have to pit again because Mick will only just make the end of this race. Unless their car's really good on their tyres, they're going to struggle. Ricciardo's soft tyres will go off by the end of this race, but it is also a McLaren. The performance differential should, go in our favour eventually. Maloney is in a world of his own, kind of. Verstappen is ever so slightly closing in every lap, but I say that, actually, no, he's getting further away now. Max Verstappen has just turned that car on a little bit more because yellow flag, multiple cars involved. Fortunately, that's not front runners, and it is only just a yellow flag. Oh, good, it's the last 2 vehicles on track. And as if Fittipaldi just decides to send the Audi to the shadow realm there. I mean, well done for him keeping that on the track, though. Who was that? That actually went off. It was Sargent. Yeah, obviously that's his penalty. I am now worried by Max. I'm officially worried by Max. He's 1.4 behind, same tyres, and seemingly now going for it, because now I can't recover fuel, even if I wanted to. Mick hasn't dropped Porsche, but at the same time, Ricciardo's now struggling on those softs, I think. He's not come through with us. Leclerc's joined, though. Another yellow flag there. I don't know who that was. As Verstappen does get Zane. Oh, it's just DRS. He just caught him and DRS'd him. Oh, it was Porsche that had the spin. Right. I thought it was someone from Mick's pack, because I felt like there was less cars there now, but... Last bit of fuel recovered. Mick's still ahead of Leclerc somehow. I don't even know how that's happened. I was right about 5th and 6th. 4 laps. I think I can hopefully engineer this. That's Mick stays ahead of Leclerc. As long as Mick's either behind and in the detection point last lap, because Leclerc's tyres are worse. If he's behind by the detection point and he's in the detection point for the last lap, then we should be fine. If he's ahead by the end of turn 1, then we should be fine, essentially, because Imola's that track. But shout out for them doing identical laps, though. 1:18.288. Leclerc marginally faster that time. I think he'll get him this time round. Mick's defending is on point. What is going on here, Mick? Are you all right? I mean, I'm loving it, but yeah, unfortunately, Verstappen has driven away. Maloney can't really... Even if I push him, I don't think he'll catch him. That being said, lap 62, who is actually on the other side of the track at this point in time. Piastri might be walking away with another championship here. Verstappen's tyres worse. Not by much. Leclerc's are on 32, so even though Mick's behind... even though Mick's behind, he will get him. So crucially, leader starting final lap. Mick behind by the detection point and in the detection point. Maloney pushing as well. His final lap, I might as well push the remainder of these tyres. Can he get within a second of Max by the detection point? Maybe. Oh, I've actually got to focus on both drivers now. I think he might have been in the detection point. Is he? No, he wasn't. He just missed it. Still going to get a good slipstream though. I could have deployed Mick there, but I didn't want to because I wanted him behind by the detection point. Snowden takes Ricciardo out of the top 10 there as well. This is crucial. This is crucial, Mick. I need you to do this now. Can't really push your tyres, but if I deploy you, and if Maloney can do a mad overtake at some point, like that, but this is the DRS, which actually wasn't as comfortable as I'd like. Maybe the Ferraris are up there in DRS. I mean, somebody has to. I didn't actually check who was first in DRS because there was one that was out of sync, wasn't there? Maloney just nabs Verstappen out of DRS entirely. Piastri race winner. That's not the highlight I was after. Oh, just ERS. Just bye, Leclerc. Goodbye. It's going to be 4th and 6th. Didn't realise we had that in the tank still for Maloney. His tyres would have been worse. Not by much, though. Oh, supposedly, yeah, Leclerc's just tipped under 30%, which is the problem percent. So that would have contributed to him dropping miles off Mick. I know we're ERSing away. We've got to make this count because it might go, you know, the performance grade might go against us as the teams continue to develop at the end of the year when we stop development. We're 4th and 6th. He was 2nd, wasn't he? No, he was 3rd. He actually went down a place and Lance Stroll went down a place and they congratulated him. Sure. Never mind that Zayn actually went up and Mick went up 2 places. Ricardo didn't even get in the top 10 in the end, which is just insane. Lance Stroll's podium does get him ahead with the sprint, of course, clearly contributing there. He must have won the sprint, actually. Won the sprint and had fastest lap. I think that's how that pans out, right? Mick gets 9 points from a point in the sprint and 8 in the race. Zayn gets nothing for the sprint and 12 from the race. 72 points from him, 29 from Mick. It's not terrible, but it's not great. At least it's a bit better percentage-wise than it was last year. That's 101 points. We've already beaten last year's tally of points. And it's race 6. 8 points from Mick in the fastest lap thing. We're not doing too well in that at this stage. Oh, and he gets a bonus as well, but it's only 120k. Both of them are mostly enthusiastic. Both of them are just enthusiastic. Oh, it does make him look very well-rounded. This is the power of Zayn Maloney on enthusiastic, by the way. 100 smoothness, 100 control, and 100 cornering. This is why, despite the fact he's a young driver, you don't really see Zayn make that many mistakes because that's the one that does the likelihood. Accuracy is the one that reduces the chance of that actually being a problem. So yeah, 100 cornering plus 100 control is really what makes him super powered. And then 100 smooth, of course, for the sake of the race and overall pace. That's what his power is. But it's Monaco, which is now only race 7. But Monaco next, we'll put the money in that we should have had for the last 4 months. No, we were going to do our start of June, weren't we? You know what, I might put it in for the start of this next episode because we will go across June as part of it. So then I don't have to do it mid-recording. So I'll put it in for the start one, but I'll do it to cover the first 6 months. But it'll be 5 because I'm pretty certain we did get month 1. But it is Monaco next, but I don't suspect is great. Although we're now 5th in low speed. So Monaco 17th. Monza 21st. I don't know whether I should take these with a pinch of salt because 6th for Miami, but 21st for Italy. And bear in mind, of course, the thing in Miami that really helped us was something that wasn't even there in the race, the DRS. So no idea. We'll wrap that up for this one though. Frankly, even if I was planning to do 3 races in this episode, I probably would have stopped here anyway because Miami was mad and highlight full, and whilst Imola was less on the highlights, it was still a sprint race. So I will see you next time for Monaco, Barcelona, and Canada. No sprints in that batch, but we'll then probably do Spielberg and Silverstone by themselves, just because otherwise we'll end up with 2 sprints in the same video. I think, like I say, if there's a sprint, we'll just do 1 race with it, whichever side it happens to be going forward. But if you enjoyed this, like, comment, subscribe. You know the deal by now. This is turning out to be a fight for 3rd, I think, with Ferrari. Realistically, it's probably just being comfortably 4th by the end of the year. But we'll see how it pans out, whether Red Bull continue a fight with McLaren, or if they fall off, or if Ferrari join that fight, or if they stay with us. But until next time, thank you for watching. Ciao.